each and every one of you. So, and many of you for a long time. Some of you are a little newer, and that doesn't make any difference. You're still awesome. And I really appreciate the support. I've never done this before. I've never even been to a poetry reading. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start out. The book begins with a poem that I wrote for Fisher, and it's called Everything's Growing. The creases in your knuckles, a masterpiece, my body perfected in such a short time for all it endured. Your ears allow you to hear. I know because you look toward my voice. Your eyes allow you to see my smile. The muscles in your face allow your toothless mouth to smile back at me. Your breath, sometimes hurried and laborious, sometimes shallow as snot, like wind across the hollow of my dimples. Those long toes you haven't yet discovered reflexively curl when I touch your feet. Your skin so soft and warm as I keep it, holding inside everything we made, protecting all the delicacy underneath. You, so small, have more bones now than I. As you grow, some will fuse together. As you change, I enjoy your mohawks and afros. I clip your fingernails often to ensure you don't scratch your precious face. I examine the tiny sinkhole that is your belly button. That's how your growing began. We were once connected. Tend to the roots. Together we flourish. I don't really have much to say about that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, except the mohawks and afros. His hair was crazy at times, and those of you who are around know that, like, he would lay down and he made this good baby spot with what my granny called it, and she couldn't be here tonight, so he had a bald spot here, and then he wore it on the sides too, so he just had this big crazy little fluffy thing going on up there. So that was kind of like Jim, only bald over here. I'm just kidding. It wasn't curly at all. The second poem in the book here is Family Inheritance, and it is a very long poem in many parts, and it means a lot to me. It is a work in progress. I've been working on it for all semester, I think, and longer than that if you want to count some of the imagery in it. It pretty much speaks for itself also, so I'm going to read it. And then I learned my mom had diabetes. It felt like someone told me we were out of popsicles. Papa already had to put shots in his belly as we played at the table, awaiting Mama's biscuits and gravy. The first summer I spent at my dad's, I enjoyed the swimming pool, the palm trees, the kids I met. But I remember nothing like holding the cold phone to my ear, and from 800 miles away, I hear Mom tell me, Papa had a heart attack, and he's in ICU right now. Sobbing, I fell to my knees and prayed. Part 2. Cigarettes seduced me with their false comfort. Every 13-year-old girl needs some type of crutch. Papa quit smoking before I was born. His kids begged him to stop, and still half of them smoke. I stole many packs from my mother that my friends and I smoked in my room, poking holes in the window screens to wedge our poisonous cylinders into, so we could flick them into the yard when we heard the old steps under her feet. But usually, she stayed downstairs on the cushion that curved around her bottom. So we all smoked freely, cloaking the stagnant house in miasma. Part 3. My 26-year-old belly swollen with my son. His father cooked and urged me daily, watch your sugar. Mom had gestational diabetes first, a warning sign. I never liked raw vegetables, but when my body belonged to my son, I devoured them. After a year and a half of his nourishment, he returned my body to me, his best interest ever in my heart. Often in life, I took my own body for granted, by feeding it junk, lounging too much, consuming intoxicants and sunshine, sharing sexual pleasures with passionless fools without caution. I wanted to stop and live healthy with my family, but there were holes in our foundation, and some men care little for change. I left so I could grow. Part 4. Papa died last spring after caths and stents and bypasses, mush through feeding tubes, the hiss of breathing tubes. I no longer prayed, but I shaved his face to show my love, because he wasn't supposed to eat my banana bread, though he insisted on a piece anyway. We hid the bread. I should have grown fruit, but there was hardly time. Part 5. My new boyfriend carried Papa's coffin to the hearse with other men from my family, and he felt the weight of us all. His health had taken dives in recent years, but this year he slowed in the grocery store and amazed himself at the labels of things he placed back on the shelves. Then a friend, a brother to us, is attacked by his own heart one night, right before Valentine's Day and his 30th birthday, and we are stricken with the fear of a storm we thought was miles farther away when it ripped the walls down on his family and doctors gingerly propped them back up. Part 6. I run on this machine and stare at the tree by the river. Its limbs sprawl outward like arteries in each direction against the backdrop of the sky and the mountains and the water. I think of my mom in hopes that she makes the right decisions so that I may talk to her for years to come about everything. I think of my son, who loves running and all foods, even the ones I don't like, and candy. He will learn positive habits and the importance of being healthy in my home, so he doesn't have to learn this agonizing way. I think of my boyfriend, who stands by me and works for more days with our family. By picking better foods and strengthening his heart and our bond, we want more days together. I haven't smoked since our first date, and we're planting together this spring. I think of my friends and family who have suffered and watched their loved ones suffer. Do people have to die for us to understand why we should change? And I run. I run as if something horrible chases me, and it never stops. And at that, I'm going to let Jessica come up and read a poem.
This is Jessica Halstead, who is another star poet from another class.
Oh, no, that's still.
You're a star tonight, honey.
That's right.
Okay, I'll read one of my dad's from 110 years ago to break the seriousness. That was awesome. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Yes, it really was.
It's called Private Thoughts. One day while I was on my throne, I pondered as I gave a groan of things we think of when we shit. I laughed at just the thought of it. We think of work, we think of class, of what we ate to make such a gas. We think of rest, we think of play, of those we meet along the way. Sometimes we read to pass the time, sometimes we sit and pen a rhyme. Sometimes we read the writings on the walls or chat with those in other stalls. We think of our uncles and our aunts. We think of the stain we left in our pants. We think of our shoes and maybe our socks, or maybe the sausage that gives us squirts. This poem is over and I must run, but not before the paperwork is done. And the inheritance my father gave to me. Driving down the road just as fast as I can, foot on the gas, gear shift in hand, WVSU 20 miles away. I am sorry is all I can say. Excuse after excuse running through my mind. Tell the truth, you hate to lie. My father's inheritance, as you can see, procrastination is what he gave to me.
I'm going to help you guys in the future.
Very nice. I'd like to meet your dad. He seems pretty funny. I think Fisher would like him because he likes that kind of humor.
Those guys do.
Well, the other day, we were somewhere, yeah, me too. We were somewhere and I said something about potty, something, and he was like, we're not supposed to say that in here. We were at the barge waiting on Nick to come. And he knows he's not allowed to say that in public. So he got on to me. Do you love it when they do that? This next